Now, I'd like to talk about who suffers from sleep apnea. Typically, it was thought that sleep apnea was really just a disease of old fat guys. And the reality is that's not true. Sleep apnea is a human condition, and we see it across all ages, all sizes, all types of people. When we're looking for general trends in sleep apnea, there are a few things that we can kind of look out for and see. We do see a slightly greater incidence in men than in women, and the risk of that goes up with age. As you age, you tend to lose some muscle mass, and that's going to lead to less stability in the airway system. So current estimates are with men, about 1 in 4 men over the age of 50 has some form of sleep breathing problem. With women, the risk is a little bit lower until menopause. And then after menopause, we'll start to see a jump up into a similar kind of rate because menopause changes your hormone levels, and that's going to impact the airway as well. We do see sleep apnea in children, but typically with children, the rates are obviously much lower, but it's, I think, important to note that there's really no amount of snoring, noisy breathing, grinding, poor sleep quality issues that in a child that should be present. So if a child is snoring, that's really something we need to look into a little bit further. When we're looking at adults specifically, there are a few things that will help, identify people that are at greater risk for sleep apnea than others. I think one thing that's really important to note is that we do know that there's a family component to sleep apnea. So you get the same genes and the same face structure, body type as your parents. So if one of your family members did suffer from snoring or sleep apnea issues, that's going to put you at a higher risk category. Additionally, weight does play a role. So larger people have larger necks, larger tongues, which just means less room in the breathing system. So that itself is going to lend itself to more snoring and noisy sleep. It's not so much just about, body type, but there is other things that we can look for that can be kind of identifiers, right? So obviously a big one is snoring and fatigue, a lot of restless sleep, or if there's any sort of witnessed pause or stoppage in breathing. We can also see a greater risk of people with sleep apnea that have uncontrolled high blood pressure. Currently, it's estimated that if you are on 2 or more blood pressure medications and you're still not well controlled, you have a 98% chance of having some form of sleep apnea. Some people come to me because their cardiologist recommended it because they have AFib, right? So there's a very strong tie to heart issues with sleep apnea. We'll also see it in people with just a larger neck circumference. So it's kind of a rough gauge is men that have a neck size greater than 17 inches and women greater than 16 inches. That's gonna lend itself to a greater risk of sleep apnea. BMI, again, like I said, does play a role. So if we're looking at somebody with a BMI greater, in the higher end of the 30s, that's going to be a greater risk. But I will say I do treat a lot of people that are of a normal BMI. And so I don't think weight is always a factor. If we see somebody that has a smaller jaw or a jaw that's a little bit more set back, right? They had braces and it kind of took teeth out, pulled everything backwards. It just kind of pulled all of the system in the tongue back into the airway space, and that's going to create more of a risk of having sleep breathing. So I think it's important to look at it as a multifactorial thing where we're looking at not only you and your family history, but the symptoms that you're presenting with. That's going to lead us to making a decision on if you're at a greater risk, and you may benefit from a diagnostic sleep study to give us a better sense of what's really going on with you and your sleep.